everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Chi. You can call me Chinwe. So I'm going to be showing you how to make a delicious, delectable bottom pot jollof rice. As you can see, it's so delicious. It looks very delicious, isn't it? So stay tuned. Doesn't this jollof rice look absolutely scrumptious? And of course, we're going to be making some beautiful, wonderful grilled chicken. Yes, and of course, first things first, we're going to be making chicken broth. What you need is half a cup of thyme and curry, 1 tablespoon of turmeric, salt and garlic powder, 1 tablespoon each, and of course 3 stock cubes. You can either use Knorr cubes or Maggi cubes, whichever is your preference. Yes, and we're going to mix and pour all this wonderful goodness into the chicken pot. So you pour this into the chicken pot and you add 1 cup of water. You don't need, as you can see, the chicken is frozen. I've just added only 1 cup of water. I have some meat at the bottom because I want the meat to cook first. So we're just going to let that simmer for 30 minutes. Then we're going to move on to making the boiling the tomatoes, the stew, frying it. What you will need is some tomatoes, half a cup of oil. You then blend the pepper, tomatoes and onions together and pour into the pot with half a cup of oil and let simmer for 30 minutes. You don't want it to be burnt. Let it simmer at low heat for 30 minutes. Next thing, we're going to be washing the rice. For this tutorial, you're going to be using 4 bowls of rice. And we're going to be washing it over the tap because we want the excess starch to drain out. So when washing the rice, make sure you use both hands. I'm using one hand because I'm using the other hand to hold the camera. Okay, so I washed this rice 4 times over water. So you drain out the water until you find that the water in the rice is kind of semi-clear, if you know what I mean. So you keep doing the process until the rice looks very clean and the water isn't like very cloudy looking. Yeah, so now I'm using both hands to wash the rice because I find it easier to use both hands. So you repeat this process as much as you can until you are happy that the rice is thoroughly washed. Doesn't that look very therapeutic? So now we're on to checking the chicken. So it's been cooking now for 30 minutes. So we don't want the chicken to be overcooked. Okay, so we just turn it a little bit. You can see the meat is at the top now because I wanted the meat to cook first before allowing the chicken come in contact with the water. So you stir. As you can see, the chicken hasn't got lots of water in it because of course when we were boiling the chicken and the meat, the chicken was frozen. I don't know if you noticed that some of the chicken still looks bloody. That's just to tell you that we are only going to be cooking it for just a short while. We don't want to overcook it. Okay, then we go back and check on the stew. Just make sure it's not burnt. As you can see, I'm turning the stew and I'm scratching the bottom of the pot. You can clearly see that the tomato isn't burnt except for the sides, but very light burn. We're going to move on now to mixing all the ingredients together, mixing the washed rice with the tomatoes, and then proceeding to adding the chicken broth. So what I'm going to do next is to layer the already cooked chicken on the baking tray. Just going to do that now. So you need like a spoon that has sort of like, will I call it a sieve spoon, or what word am I going to use? I can't remember what they call it now, but the spoon has to have holes so that when you are transferring the chicken, you don't take the stock, the broth with it. Yeah. So I'm just going to grill this chicken now. I'm just going to pop it in the oven for about 30 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius. So as you can see, the chicken is part cooked. It will then finally cook in the oven. So I'm stirring the rice now. The next thing you need to do is to add in the chicken broth. Add everything in. Depending on what the stock level is, as you can see, the stock level for the chicken broth is sufficient to cook the rice. So what I do is I then stir. After stirring, I will then go ahead to add in the rest of the ingredients, which of course should come in the next video slide. So now I'm popping the chicken in the oven and I'm going to grill, like I said before, for 200 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes. So I just want it browned. It's half cooked. So we're going to brown it for about 30 minutes. Now that we've mixed the stock with the rice and fried tomato, we need to add in ingredients. We need half a cup of curry, thyme, 1 tablespoon of salt and garlic powder. You add everything together into the already mixed tomato sauce, which is boiling with the rice. As a note of precaution, what I usually would do would be, instead of adding on all the salt at once, I would add in a little, then, taste it, then add again, and sort of like gauge the salt, because, too much salt isn't too good for your health. Too much salt, of course, is linked with high blood pressure, so you don't want a lot of salt in your food, but at least just enough for it to taste really nice. So you stir everything up together, and you cover the pot up and let it simmer. So I haven't added any extra water, so because the water already from the stock and the tomato sauce should be able to cook the rice to perfection. So you cover the pot and allow it to simmer. I'm sure some of you might be wondering why I am using turmeric. Turmeric is known for its anti-inflammatory properties, and instead of just cooking food for the fun of it, just add 1 tablespoon of turmeric and that should be fine. It wouldn't, otherwise, it doesn't have sort of like a very strong taste, given the sheer size of what I'm cooking, the rice that I'm cooking. But yeah, I always love to add turmeric in any food that I cook, because it gives it this beautiful, wonderful taste. So you allow the food come to a boil, and once that's happened, you let it cook for about 15 minutes, and you come back and check it. You turn the rice, turn it really well, turn it from underneath and upwards. You turn it, and if it's not really cooked, don't add in extra water. That's the mistake people make. Don't add in extra water. Just turn the rice, and then turn the temperature of your cooker to the lowest, so the steam will ultimately cook the rice, and it will then come out beautiful and fluffy and delicious looking and sumptuous looking. Some people kind of confuse the fact, and some people wonder, how do I achieve that bottom post village tasting, firewood tasting rice? Just add very little water, and even if it's not cooked, cover it, let the steam simmer and cook the rice. And even if it's burning, just leave it. That burning that comes from cooking the rice ultimately infuses into the rice and gives it that smoky taste. And yes, you can see the chicken is almost done. I'm just going to drain out the water and grill for an additional 10 minutes. And that's the recipe all done. Wonderful sumptuous bottom pot jollof rice. As you can see, the rice is very fluffy and looks delicious. Please subscribe to my channel. I'll really be grateful. For interesting content, interior and design, do subscribe. So see you all in the next video. Do take care. Bye.